Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you can hear me now?
Yeah, I could hear you before, but it's strange. It was,
Yeah, I couldn't hear anything from you at all, but then when you got back on, I could hear that you were on just now. So
okay.
sounds
Yeah, it's a strange, I don't know, microphones that sometimes it works, sometimes I think they should be working, but not.
I know. There's all kinds of problems with headphones and microphones and wireless stuff I'm going through right now with my cell phone, especially. Anyway. What cell phone do you have?
This is actually well, cell phone is like a Google, like what's it called, a Pixel, but this is actually going through like work computer and it's Linux. So
Do you like the Pixel, and how much does it cost now? Because basically I have an iPhone 6 and it's failing and I can't update. I mean, I can't use a lot of apps now. Yeah.
This is like my favorite time to buy phones because usually like new versions come out like about a month ago, and then you know, they have Black Friday deals. So this Pixel is I think this is for a 5G. So I bought it like a year ago, but it wasn't new. It wasn't like it like it didn't come out right there. It came out like some time ago, a few months. I think they just released 6 and 6 Plus, and right now they have few deals.
And how much do you end up having to spend, do you think? How does it work? Because that's my main problem with the iPhone is it's just, geez, it's going to spend at least $800 to get one.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. My wife is hooked on iPhones, so I can't switch her.
So how much are pixels, you think? Is it going to save?
Pixels, I think. So now they have like a Target has a deal, $50 off. So it's I think it's 550.
Okay, so it's still significant, but it's less, significantly less.
Yeah, yeah.
iPhone.
I bought mine before, I think for around like 300 or 400, but that's because I like did a trade in.
Right.
So,
Okay, you think it's worth, you know what, I would save maybe $300 something dollars and.
yeah, I don't know.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I used to use Nexus, and then Google stopped Nexus, and their Pixels were like really expensive. So I stopped buying them. But now Pixels are what Nexus used to be. So I think like when they come out, they're around 600, but then they come down, like they have deals.
But functionally, you like it? Is there anything you don't like about it or you love it?
No, it's pretty good. Like a camera is amazing now. So that was
Yeah, that's all of them have done because they can't innovate. They don't seem to be able to get anywhere new. So they're just like improving the shit out of their cameras.
well, the camera is also they all have this you know, enhanced like AI enhanced photography now.
Yep.
No.
Yeah. So your feeling is you pretty much get the same thing and save some money as an iPhone.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I also like really didn't like the whole like Apple ecosystem that they control what you can do.
Yes, yes, which is of course my wife loves because she's actually getting um, the new laptop, which does have the M1, but not because she wants that, but you know, because her old one is just dead. So she's locked into that ecosystem. It's actually a good ecosystem, but I'm not interested in doing that right because my work. Jesus, I don't want to go back to. It's so hard to switch between the two operating systems on a computer. So I'm not interested in going back to learning how to use a Mac again. Anyway. Okay. Thanks for the info.
Sure.
That cross encoder from Espert, that was great. You threw that in right at the end of the call. I used it, I implemented it. It's slow as can be, but it definitely does improve results. It's definitely a piece of the puzzle of getting good results from a similarity engine.
Oh, cool, cool. I was,
Yeah.
I was like just specifically kind of looking at, you know, like there are various ways of combining technology, and I didn't like I don't remember now the details, but I thought you were not using like everything from Asberg, but
No, and in fact, I've had a hard. I get more of what they do. It's a really good project. I'm not sure I quite understand the origins of it. I saw the guy talk though, right? Because we did, didn't you? I went to the
oh,
iPhone thing. Were you there?
no, I wasn't. So I wanted to go. I actually posted it also like within the company, but we had a call at the same time, so I couldn't. But they published, so I was gonna listen to it after. I think they just published the video. But
Yeah, he was the guy who wrote the library was on the call with Pinecone.
yeah,
So half of
yeah,
the presentation was him.
yeah, he works for Hugging Face now.
Oh, which makes sense. It's totally integrated with Hugging Face as well.
Yeah.
Let me see if I could find if I have anything else in my notes about that. Maybe I don't. I mean, I know I do. I don't know if I could find it right away. But yeah, it was good for him learning because he talks about also he's so experienced in using embeddings that he talks about like what's good, the models he likes now. He talks about best practices in general. I'm sure you'll be interested in what he has to say. So, definitely.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Do you understand why they're so slow? The cross embedders.
Versus by encoders.
Well, not well, oh yes, a bioencoder, sure, but I guess that so when I use like basically I take the entire collection of documents, right, of product pages, and I embed them and put them in the certain, into Pinecone. You don't have to do that, but I do it there. And then that uses, like the small world indexing, whatever. So it's super fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
Use Pinecone, you search against the whole collection. So why can't the re-ranker be implemented something like that? Why does it have to be? I mean, basically what you're doing is you're comparing each doc with every one of the other documents, right? So if you have 100 documents in your results, right, that you choose to put into the cross encoder, it's going to do, compare one to each one of them, right? So it's a lot of comparisons. But I'm not sure I understand why it has to be done that way, as opposed to maybe I, also maybe I could index. I guess you'd have. I mean, couldn't I do that somehow with a indexing? I don't know, but anyway, it's slow.
Oh, that's interesting. So I never looked into that part of it, the speed up, but I'm actually looking at like this ranking problem outside of NLP right now, and there are data structures where you can basically like effectively search faster. It's different. It's I don't know if it would be applicable or not because it's a one. Yeah, no, maybe it's not applicable because it's a sort of one-dimensional.
Yeah.
One-dimensional problem. Okay.
So what is the difference? So I see I'm looking at the picture now on their site, of course. The cross encoder, I know it's what it is a trained classifier. I get that, right? And you put in sentence A and sentence B, and you get a 0 to 1 probability that they are similar. Okay. So I get that. They train they say and they have different cross encoders that you can load up and use for re-ranking, and basically they're a trade-off of speed and quality, right? There's like 10 of them, and they show them in there. I'm just doing the slowest one because I wanted to get the best results to start with.
So the biggest network, right? Also.
Probably. I don't know. I didn't research that part of it. I just know that you're probably right about that.
Yeah, the embedding, you can also switch embeddings. So you can, I think we use like a bird base, and we had issues going to like a bigger embedding base, but you can do Roberta, and so you can get like a big, and biggest, you can go with bigger size.
So are you guys using re-ranking, the cross encoder, for something?
So we use it for mapping, actually.
Mapping.
Like a problem where we have
Oh,
like a
your mapping
different,
problem. I
yeah,
know what you're
different
saying.
database, and we want to map like
Yeah.
their key names. Yeah.
Yeah. I got confused with the satellite and maps, but that's your main NLP use case for a lot of our discussions. Yeah, the mapping. Okay. So you're getting similar, and then you're re-ranking them. Sure, and it's a back-end process, so you also don't have to worry about how fast that runs, probably.
Oh yeah. That's it can be very slow.
So the bi-encoder, I mean, the only difference between the cross encoder and the bi-encoder is you're just getting the embeddings instead of the classification. Is that right?
Yes. You know what? I think we use bi-encoders only. We don't use cross encoders.
So when you do the bi-encoder, you just get you're not using the pre-classified, basically. You're getting a cosine similarity between two sentences using how do you, I guess I didn't do the bi-encoder. How do you actually do that? Use their bi-encoder.
So I haven't looked at it for a while, but they have they have cosine similarity laws. So they have pre-trained embeddings. And then we also have basically our own ground truth where we do mapping, and we use basically those mappings to train. So we had like, similar, we take like either part of the same table of the mapping, or we train on one source and apply it to a different source. But yeah, so we have pairs, and we so we change so ultimately, like this, like so the answer is produced by the cosine similarity distance. But to train the network, first we try like just pre-trained network that gives us some accuracy, and then that's just whatever was trained on, like whatever corpus they use for training, and then we just fine-tune embeddings, again using this exactly same cosine similarity, and they give you basically all the, I think there's like a one line in SBERT.
Yeah.
Hey, Darren, Money here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. I actually have the exact question about the difference between the bi-encoder and cross-encoder. And I found this sentence transformer documentation to be excellent in actually, like, let me share my screen. So can you see my screen here?
That's exactly what I'm looking at. Yeah. So the bi-encoder is described below when you use
it. It's amazing. So basically, like, it's bi-encoder is specifically for the embeddings, and that's where you actually like perform, the sentence pair and get the cosine similarity. Whereas in the cross encoder, it doesn't produce the embedding, it seems.
And the bi-encoder, the cross encoders were obviously they probably done a bi-encoder and then classified it, put a classification head on it. I'm guessing. But why would you use, so if you use the biencoder and you get the cosine similarity between pairs of, this is when you'd have to get similarity between pairs of sentences.
Right.
Is that faster?
Yes, that is correct. The cross encoder, it achieved better performances in terms of this ranking, but when it in terms of the accuracy itself, but it's not like that fast. So I believe you would have in the retrieve re-rank pipeline, you would first actually retrieve it using biencoder, and then probably followed with the cross encoders. I think that's what they actually.
So, but the biencoder retrieval, it's not really for retrieval because it's just two sentences. I mean, you have to, if you had 100 sentences, you'd have to compare one against one against two, one against three, even with a biencoder.
Mm-hmm. But here they actually say it's much more costlier when you try to do it with cross encoder. So you would first actually use biencoder to retrieve some top K numbers. And then after that, you follow it up with the cross encoder to actually do the re-ranking to improve the precision.
So, yeah, but I mean, I just, because I don't understand how the biencoder would be fast when you're doing a comparison without an index. You're doing one, if you have 1,000 documents, it's compare one against all 999 and compare number two against the other.
Correct.
They also have fast implementation, I think, like a matrix multiple implementation. So
biencoder basically is just an alternative to what I'm doing in Pinecone, which is with the sentence. I'm just using one of their BERT sentence embedders, which is not a biencoder, right? It's just a regular sentence embedder with BERT. And that's how I have all my documents in vector space, right?
Mm-hmm.
But with the biencoder, then I would use what? The biencoder with that space? I guess I just need to run through an example or something so I can understand it.
Yeah, I think this one actually, sentence BERT, I really, it's been on my to-do list forever. They have some good examples to actually do this retrieve and re-rank. That might actually super be helpful.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I have is that I explored. I used when you weren't on, man, I explained that I used I used the cross encoder from the SBERT cross encoder to re-rank, right?
Mm-hmm.
A query to get products that are similar to a text sentence.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking a title from something that someone's read on our network, right? A editorial document title, and then I'm getting results in Pinecone, but I'm using, it's just a vector space, an SBERT better vector space. I get back the results, and then I played with, well, if I re-rank 10 or 100 or 300 pages, the more you include, the better that cross encoder works because it'll pick up stuff, from, but it gets a lot slower. So I use the slowest one. And so I'm basically re-ranking my results, and it worked pretty well, especially for the sort of the mid-level sparse stuff. So you've got the non-sparse data, that are covering, like when the title covers areas that that the pages I'm trying to find cover a lot of, but you don't really need the re-ranking. But right in the middle, where it gets a little unpredictable, and so the re-ranker works really well. When it's super sparse semantic area, then you just don't have anything to get the re-ranker to re-rank, to bring. So it's definitely helpful. Yeah.
What would be is it more of a natural language type questions that because I've been doing a survey, at least try to understand where one should apply which one. So in these scenarios, which is more of this natural language questions, and you try to get the best documents that would satisfy, serve as answers, right? Is that what your?
No. My scenario is, I think I talked about this a couple times. My scenario is we have a network of sites that have editorial content on the IT industry, so written by our staff, right?
Okay.
We produce 200 documents a day. Done this for many years. IT people read them. They know about us. They're registered users. They come, they get to us a lot too, though, but they read our content. Okay. So if I have, someone who we call them prospects. Okay. And so I have a prospect, I can look at what they read over the last 3 months. So that's sort of their intent. Like, what is their IT intent recently?
Oh,
So software vendors want to know kind of what they're interested in buying. So
right.
I'll get like between 3 to 10 documents that this person at Bank of America has read on our network. And they're all IT documents with IT technology. So I'll take those 3 and like, I'll take them, or I'll take one of them, like this one's about security, like container security, right? So the article is a title about container security. And I just take that title as a sentence. I'm not even doing it for the whole document yet. And then I embed that. And that is my query.
Okay. So basically it's not something that the user has explicitly asked. It's based on their historical interaction, which is probably the previous interaction. I mean, like reading of that particular thing. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and when I'm retrieving what's in the embedding database, are
okay.
So tech products like container security from vendor sites. So companies that sell container security software, right? They'll have a page on that product that they sell for that. Okay, so I have 30,000 product pages, basically from our customers are the vendors, right? Software vendors. So what I'm doing is I'm matching a reader in an IT department, potential buyer, right? And saying they read this article on container security, thus they're probably interested in these 10 vendor products.
So this is more like a recommender system, which you don't need to have to worry about the inference time, because this can be pre-computed, right? For this particular user, these are the things, which is much more. So you would be saved. Don't even have to worry about the serving cost.
However, to some degree you do, because I have 100, at least probably a couple 100,000 of these I have to run, maybe half. And I calculated at 200,000 of these cross encoder re-rankings, it would take me like a year. Literally each re-ranking comparison, depending on how many documents I include in the re-ranking, 100 is taking minutes.
Right.
So, however, just keep in mind, I use the slowest.
Correct.
Encoder. They have a table in the document. There's a table in there that shows the like 10 or 15 of them benchmark, and you can see the trade-off between time and but the bottom line is this is a great, if it's back-end processing, and I think it is a great tool for getting better results out of similarity search,
Right.
Can I ask you something? So you mentioned that your queries are basically articles that user read. Is it like one article, one query?
Well, we talked about this before, basically, and you guys gave me some ideas. So if I look at someone, what they've read, right, their intent can be bifurcated. So they may have read 3 documents, and each one's a completely different IT area, or they may, or 2 of them are on container security and the other one. So for now, I'm just doing one title as each title is a query, but I might try to group them in a couple different ways so that I can combine the titles, right, for that particular intent. So I could take the 2 titles that are about container security and just put them together and make one sentence out. But that's down the path, down the way. Actually, what I figured out by not doing it is also, it might be possible to see how many product pages that each title returns, and if there's crossover, just combining them. You know what I mean? Rather than using the cluster. So I could cluster the entire product page, vendor product page, 30,000 documents, right? And then I could find where the titles live, which cluster each one lives in, and I could probably bifurcate them that way or group them that way. So Does that answer your question?
Sammy.
Yeah.
But that
There
doesn't,
was
that doesn't help much. I still have, I have 100,000 prospects active every 3 months or whatever. And so no matter what I do with, titles, it's still going to be the same problem. But I'm sure you can parallelize it, and I can also use a different model that's a little less accurate, and it'll probably be doable on the back end. All right, that's my whole story. Manny, you got anything going on you want to talk about at work or something you've talked about?
no, actually, I gave a internal presentation for the data scientists about. I'm actually working in information retrieval team, so I basically presented the information retrieval problem areas, the use cases within my company. So primarily it's the document search, and then a bit of recommender systems. And also I really want them to focus on the query understanding part. That's because, whether we have to apply neural search or not, probably it makes sense, depends on what type of queries that the users are asking, because we get both low intent. When I say low intent, just simple single word type queries, and also more of a paragraph type, sending the whole document itself. So you get different varieties of queries. So I was actually trying to present the different problem spaces and what are all I just want them to actually try to understand the space, and I was looking for some collaborators. So I gave some pitch. Yeah, go ahead then.
Yeah, I get it. So maybe even if there's entities in a query, right?
Exactly. So yeah, so present the I call this query pipeline understanding, where you have these misspelling corrector, and then suggestions for the users, followed by intent detection, and then identifying exactly the semantic span of the queries. And then, basically before sending it to our retriever, which could be a Solr or Elasticsearch, frame it in a proper way, constructed, that is super useful for the retriever to get, the first pass results, right? That's one aspect. Before we even try to go and tackle this ranking problem, my strategy is, if we craft the better query, we might be able to actually reduce the cost, because latency is very important. Response time is, you have to actually provide really fast results. So trying to minimize the computation as much as possible is my tactic. Of course, it's not the best foolproof, but that's exactly the path that I was going forward with.
So how do you minimize computation through understanding the query? Is it because you can reduce the query space when you query it through some metadata? So you adding metadata to reduce down the, in some way. I guess I can't connect the dots, obviously, between, understanding the query and reducing the latency.
Right. So when I say understand the query, so typically in your case, right, each domain is different. So typically, my its user comes with a goal in mind. Say, for example, they want to install a particular product. They want to actually troubleshoot some error. So they paste an error message. It means some troubleshoot intent is found. So in those cases, a specific type of content would fit better, rather than actually you would actually apply, in addition to actually doing this retrieval, you can also provide some better filters in order to actually reduce your the number of contents that could, you would reduce the space. Correct. You would apply either filters or boosting type strategy.
Yep. Okay. And did you have any luck with your data science folks? Was there anyone who was showed some?
They seem to be at least like I have definitely made an impression with their manager. So I could see some possible potential collaboration with these data science. It's just that there is so much of space. I have to really prioritize which one gives the maximum benefit rather than actually like, taking something, because it's really hard to actually move from a keyword-based search to a neural search immediately, right? Because I don't want to spend another 2 years in doing this migration without showing any results. So it's one of those things which, what are all the low-hanging fruits, and try to tackle it.
So is the idea that if you can define, you got sort of general buy-in, but if you can define it much more specifically to do and how you could do it, then maybe they could start implementing it?
Yes. So I have presented at least like 3 or 4, 5 problem spaces. So if someone shows some interest, and I might be able to actually help them and guide them and put together a project proposal that can be actually like accomplished in the next 3 to 4 months. That's typically like, that they expect. They want to see some results, like the management wants to see some results as soon as possible. Yeah.
Okay. So that's the next step with the understanding the query stuff is maybe making it as specific as, identifying when someone's using an error code or something like that.
Right. I actually did this back in 2019. I did create an intent classification. So whether users is trying to do, trying to learn about the product, or they trying to troubleshoot it. Because if they try to troubleshoot and if they did not go, they would end up creating support cases. So which will cost more for the business, right? So, this is the primary thing. Like, okay, what is the primary intent? Are they trying to troubleshoot? Are they trying to use it? That's the most simplest use cases. And there was no labeled data on this one. So I have to use Prodigy to do the labeling myself and then use active learning as well. I even actually have a talk. I will share it with you.
Yeah, I remember you talking about some of that work too before.
Yeah, let me see.
So have you implemented that part of it, the query classification?
I did already. That's what I'm trying to actually let me, I'll put it in the chat as well. So that, this was the, yeah.
Intent detection. Oh.
Yes.
Okay, nice. I'll take a look at that.
Yeah, it's much more detailed one. So it's in short, it's very simple. So when a user comes to the site, can you see my screen, Adar?
Yes.
So when a user comes to the site, they are doing, say, for example, they make a search. Based on the query itself, try to understand, are they trying to do any type of troubleshoot? If they trying to troubleshoot, probably provide, use a specific tool that could be much more suitable rather than actually provide just a list of bunch of results. Because typically you want to actually gather more information, right? And it's much more interactive. We need a specific experience for this troubleshoot specific intent. So kind of, we are not modifying the results yet. It's just more of a, an element that can and then make the user navigate to the right experience.
Yeah, it's a workflow. You're sticking them in, you're shunting the workflow basically.
Right. That's the idea here.
And you do that through the training you did, the query classification.
Correct. So this is, yeah, it's basically a binary classification. And, whether it's it predicts whether it's a troubleshoot or whether it's a usage based. And, that's mostly it.
Yeah, that's good. It's a good little project. That's a main thing. That's important, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. Right. So you've had that success, and then you're sort of trying to kind of build on that with the data science guys to do some more kind of understanding of the query. Yep.
Right.
That may or may not shunt them into a workflow, or it might just basically reduce the problem space to speed up the performance of queries too.
Right. Entity recognition is also one other aspect, that we could work on. I don't know which one they might get interested in. And so, yeah.
What else going on? Anything?
Anyone actually taking the Hugging Face course, part 2?
I've gotten really close to it, but I haven't.
Okay.
Have you started on it?
So is this the same thing? There was a 2-day event at Hugging Face earlier this week. I think Monday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
And I listened to some of it, but work got in the way, so I couldn't listen to everything.
Is it the second one? Because is it chapter 2 of it or whatever?
Right, part 2 of it, where you will be, yeah.
So the course is different. So that 2-day event was more advertising and kind of, they're
Correct.
Symposium. So there is a regular course, right?
Correct.
Okay. Well, yeah, I'll look at the things.
Let's post the link to the course. I've seen it before. I don't know off the top of my head.
In fact, I see a lot of projects coming in. Actually, one of them is the semantic neural search engine. I even actually posted that link in the chat. One of the teams built a neural search engine as part of the Hugging Face course project.
There you go. There's the project right there, right?
Yeah, it was previously up to 4 chapters, right? So the part 2 is 5, 6, 7 data sets, tokenizers, and then the main NLP tasks.
Do you guys know anything about their, what is it, hub or whatever?
Yeah, Hugging Face Hub. Yep.
Yeah.
What would you want to know?
I don't know. Have you guys used it? When would you want to use some of that?
So I think this is the way to actually, it's more of a specifically a way for users, the community, to discover the models and the data sets purpose. So that's the main way that it's the main purpose of Hugging Face Hub. I use it for like this is the hub. This is the one that you're referring to, Darren?
So it's where you can do Streamlit. There's 2 apps you can implement. It's actually where you can you host an application.
I think that's Spaces. That's Spaces. This is the one that you're talking about.
Yeah. So the Spaces, I understand the idea of demoing uses of models, but what's the business?
Hub is just a link to download models, basically, with examples, and they have like a standard page.
But Spaces, Spaces is a place for, I know, hosting apps based on models. And but they're using it as part of their business model, right? Wouldn't it be somewhere you could, what's the point of it other than sharing? It's awesome. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. Not the hub. This.
Spaces.
Yeah, the Spaces. You guys.
It's like a collab sort of
I should try it out.
No, yeah, I think it's just a way of I guess bringing more people in, and you know they don't. It's a
So
you know it's an attractive way of like you can build user interface right there. You don't need to
yeah,
work close to anything.
I shared it with my manager, Darren. So when it's
Yeah.
much more easier way to actually convince non-ML folks to actually like make them use these ML apps. It's much more like easier. You know, you just provide someone actually, you can quickly build what the app that you built, right? You can quickly build a space and then like add it and then just share it. They can actually try it. It's
no,
much
that makes sense. I mean, because I mean, obviously, I've been doing this for the last year or so, proof of concepts through streaming. So that's the power of the demo, right?
Right.
But this is an easy place to do that. Probably host that, and do that.
Yeah, hosting that particular app itself, like you wouldn't need to spend time. It's just much more easier this way. I think that it's like both Streamlit and even you can use Gradio, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
Both are supported.
Yep,
yeah,
for sure. That's cool.
I'm expecting some kind of acquisition or merging happening between Hugging Face and Gradio. But who knows? Anyway.
I've never used Gradio, but I've heard of it. Streamlit all the time, of course. Yep. Okay, cool. Anything else you want to share or ask about? Annie?
No, actually, not much. Yeah, that's mostly it, Darren. I probably will have.
Yeah, I think CG was. I tell you, but he's traveling, so he's not here today. Yuri, you have anything to share or ask?
Not NLP, but I'm actually trying to solve a ranking problem, which is not NLP. I actually posted the. I think I learned more after I posted the question in general, but I think I learned more about the problem. But it's very similar to basically search result ranking or product ranking. And the problem is like I think my analogy was like, you know, let's say you want to rank all the cities in the world, like on happiness, or like how, you know, what's the best city to live in, and people don't know how to compare, you know, cities, you know, from like people don't travel everywhere, right? So typically you can compare cities within one country. So you have relative lists, so you have ranks. So problem is, how do you have like multiple sets of ground truth, and they're like not absolute. You just, you know, maybe people rank like top 5 cities, but my list should be for every city in the world. So I'm trying to figure out what should be the right setup of machine learning problem. So you incorporate all the information, but you don't overfit into like one specific country, for example.
You know, this may sound a little old school, but what the fuck, trees, you know, the random forests, they used to use that for combining rankings in that way, I think.
What was the first thing? You
Random
said random forest?
Yeah, random forest. I think people have used random forest to combine rankings like that.
Yeah. I found like a couple of specific losses that people use. So basically, what you want to do is you produce a list, and you want to compare it to the, you know, ground truth sort of list, and there's a specific function for that.
What would your data look like, Yuri, in terms of city?
So you know, so like. City is an artificial example, but it's sort of more similar to the problem. So like, I don't know, number of people, you know, bike usage, some data. So I know, let's say I know that what the features are, and I can come up with some combination of features and say like, happy city is like,
Yeah.
But then but then people start asking, well, how do you know that you combine it correctly? So I think that's what I want to like build a little bit of a machine learning and basically say, let's say take all those features and just run some model. It could be linear regression for all I know, just some weights.
Yeah. So I mean, I could even frame this as like you have a list of city entities and you have specific the bike sharing environment. So and then every user will have a specific preferences, right? So it's even actually like, yeah, it's more of a like a recommender problem where like specific user specific features like I prefer to live in city, I prefer where like more meetups are happening, and then recommend the best cities to live in, right?
Yeah, the actual prediction is objective actually in this case. That's why it's not exactly a recommender system.
Okay.
But the data I have is relative, right? So I can have a couple of lists, people ranking cities in one country, and they like every time you do survey, it might be slightly different. So I don't want to like trust it too much, right? I want to put basically maybe emphasis on the top scoring, but then down the ranking down below, it probably doesn't matter that much if the cities are switched. So they have this cumulative gains, discounted cumulative gains score.
Yep.
So I was going to try to use that, but the unusual setup is that it's not just one ranking; it's a combination of ranking, and I want to, I sort of want to like run it through different batches, so I don't, so I train on everything, but not. I don't want to like train on like one, then fine tune on another, like so. Anyway, so I think I want to try something, but if it works, next time I might show something.
Okay. Yeah.
Anything else, Sherry?
No. There's an interesting TWIML podcast on NLP from IBM. I just saw it today. I haven't read it. I haven't listened to it yet.
Oh yeah, let me take.
Yeah, I'm really behind. Like working on different problems makes me listen to podcasts much less.
One strategy that I do is I try to actually like consume only based on the projects that I'm currently working on. So for example, if it is like, query understanding, so I try to read blogs and podcasts associated with it. So yeah, it's one of those things. There's too much of information. You have to try out it.
To add to that, I'll listen to, I'll put on my wireless, buds and listen to YouTube. I just listen to them, in a particular subject area, right? You could, in YouTube, just start. I'll just listen to them like while I'm eating lunch or taking care of things around the house. Just listen to videos because they tend to be. I mean, you can go to Listen Notes and search in a topical area for podcast stuff, and then download it onto your phone. But to really get sometimes if you really have a specific thing you're working on, you really want to learn it in a way in the same times that you're listening to podcasts, then instead of listening to podcasts, just collect a bunch of YouTube videos and listen to those. Yeah, that's one way to get more dense information, more focused.
Yep.
I mean, sometimes you can't always be in a place where you can look at them, but I listen to them.
Yeah, cool.
Next week, Thanksgiving, no call. We could do if we really wanted to, but I think we'll probably. You guys want to do next Friday, or is it okay to drop
I want to just hang out whenever, so it's okay.
Yuri, did you care one way or the other?
Yeah, no strong preferences.
All right. Well, look, there's nothing wrong with missing a freaking week.
Yeah.
I mean, we've been going for, going on a year and a half every week. So we barely miss weeks, So I think it's okay. I'll announce it on the Slack and we'll see. And we won't have it next week, but we'll pick it up the following week. All right, guys?
All right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Have a good holiday.
you.
Bye. Take it easy.
Thank you, Darren. See you.
Cool.
Bye.
Thank you guys. Bye.